The thing sitting in your driveway right now, the one you make payments on, the one you own, it's watching you and collecting information about you without you realizing it. And in some cases, it's sending that data to people you've never even heard of for purposes that have nothing to do with making your car run better. Most people have quietly accepted that their phone is a surveillance tool with a calling feature bolted on. Turns out, so is your car. But that shiny new car you worked so hard to save up for and proudly drove home with the windows down, it's been quietly spying on you the whole time. There's a reason your phone feels different. You've been trained to manage it. You turn location services off when not needed, deny extraneous permissions, and turn on private browsing. Nobody taught you how to do any of that with a car. The data is already flowing, and the next phase is already filed with the patent office. But there are things you can do, starting with what you need to know before you ever set foot in a dealership. Your car started collecting data on you the moment you drove it off the lot. An estimated 90% of new cars sold today include a telematics system. That's a built-in cellular modem that transmits data back to the manufacturer in real time. Not your phone, the car itself. It has its own SIM card, its own connection, and it's been uploading information about you, whether you knew about it or not. What's included in that data? According to Consumer Reports' review of 15 major automakers' privacy policies, your GPS coordinates, logged continuously, your speed, your acceleration, your braking force, your seatbelt use, the radio stations you listen to. Connect your phone via Bluetooth even once, then your contacts, your call logs, even your messages can be pulled into the car's system. And if you're enrolled in a connected services program like OnStar or FordPass, which millions of people are without fully realizing it, that data also includes your frequent destinations, your commute patterns, and a detailed score of how aggressively or cautiously you drive. Over the life of a car, that becomes an extremely detailed portrait of a person, and that portrait has monetary value. Car companies know it. That's why, in the last few years, several of them stopped treating data as a side effect of connected features and started treating it as a product. The most damaging version of this isn't hypothetical. It already happened, and it was caught. General Motors ran a feature called OnStar Smart Driver. It tracked how you drove, hard braking, speeding, cornering, and presented it to you as a way to assess your own driving habits. What it didn't tell you clearly is that the data was also going to companies like LexisNexis Risk Solutions and Verisk Analytics, which then sold it to your car insurance company, which used it to raise your premiums or cancel your policy entirely, without you ever being notified that this data was being collected from you. Some consumers reported only ever enrolling in the OnStar trial, which came as a perk of their new vehicle purchase, but reported later that their data was collected even after the trial ended. A New York Times investigation broke the story on March 11th, 2024. Within 2 weeks, GM announced it was shutting down the Smart Driver program. By January 2026, the FTC had finalized its settlement order. The agency found GM had collected precise location data and detailed driving behavior, sometimes as often as every 3 seconds, and had used a misleading enrollment process to get people to sign up without understanding what they were agreeing to. GM is now banned from sharing that data with consumer reporting agencies for 5 years, with broader consent requirements lasting the full 20-year life of the order. The FTC's own press release called it the first enforcement action, specifically targeting connected vehicle data. The first, which means everything that comes next is still in the gray zone. GM got caught doing something that was already happening. The question is what car companies are trying to build next. That's where the new patents come in. In August 2024, Ford published a patent application for something called an in-vehicle advertisement presentation system. The system would listen to conversations happening inside your car, using microphones already built into your dashboard for hands-free calling. No new hardware required. Let me say that again. There's no new hardware that would need to be installed to make this happen. Ford could just push a software update, one you'd probably accept without a second glance, and your car would quietly become something different than what you originally bought. It would parse those conversations for keywords, including live phone calls you make while driving. If you mention you're hungry, you might get a fast food ad. And it wouldn't stop there. The system would monitor how you react to those ads, listening for dialogue that signals whether an ad landed or didn't, then adjust the next one accordingly. Ford defended the filing the way every company defends a patent that generates backlash. A spokesperson said that patent applications should not be viewed as an indication of our business or product plans, and that Ford would always put the customer first. That may be true. Patents get filed and shelved all the time. But this one describes a fully realized system. Microphones, keyword parsing, ad delivery, and behavioral targeting. That's not just an idea. That's an architecture. And then, in April 2026, Ford published a second patent application. This one describes a system that uses cameras and machine learning to read lips, scan facial expressions, track eye movements, and monitor heart rate, all from inside the cabin. The stated purpose is to improve voice command accuracy in noisy conditions, like when you're driving a convertible with the top down. But think about what that adds up to. All of the biometrics of you sitting in your car for a week, combined with precise location telemetry. Your car is probably building a more intimate picture of you than your phone ever could, and you never knowingly agreed to any of it. One legal commentator raised a scenario that's harder to shake. Imagine you're in an accident. In the 90 seconds before impact, your car logged your heart rate, your eye movements, your facial expression, and your lip movements. Law enforcement subpoenas the data, and your own car testifies against you. That's not science fiction. The infrastructure for it is being patented right now. These things don't come with a press release. They come bundled in a terms of service update you'll never read. Your phone and car aren't the only devices in your life doing this. Your smart TV is running something called automatic content recognition. It takes a fingerprint of whatever is on your screen and sends it to the manufacturer's servers. A peer-reviewed study by researchers at UC Davis, University College London, and Universidad Carlos III de Madrid, published at the 2024 ACM Internet Measurement Conference, measured this directly on Samsung and LG televisions. Samsung transmits content fingerprints roughly once per minute. LG transmits them every 15 seconds. And the tracking continues even when you're using the TV as a plain external monitor over HDMI. Plug in your laptop, plug in your PlayStation. The TV keeps watching. In December 2025, the Texas Attorney General sued 5 of the biggest TV manufacturers, Samsung, Sony, LG, Hisense, and TCL, for collecting this data without meaningful consent. Courts have already issued restraining orders against Hisense and Samsung, with Samsung reaching a settlement in February 2026. Vizio made more money from collecting data in 2023 than it did from selling TVs. That's why televisions are so cheap now. The surveillance model pays for it. You're not just buying a television anymore. You're subscribing to be watched. Your new car is doing the same thing. The subscription features, navigation, remote start, emergency services. Those are the value proposition. The data is the actual revenue. The GM case proved that your driving data can directly raise your insurance premium. No notification, no consent you understood. The data left your car, passed through a broker, and landed at your insurer. And most people never even knew that's why their bill went up. That already happened. To real people. At scale. Ford's patents, the microphone system, the lip reading system, the emotion detection system, are the next version of that. More intimate data, more potential uses. And right now, there is no federal law that meaningfully restricts what a car manufacturer can do with biometric data collected inside your vehicle. The GM settlement covers geolocation and driving behavior data going to consumer reporting agencies. It says nothing about what manufacturers can legally do with your biometric data, what your face looks like when you're frustrated in traffic, or what your heart rate is when you're running late. And that's exactly where the Ford patents are pointing. Your car isn't a vehicle with some extra features. It's now a data collection device that also happens to drive. At this point, some of this is unavoidable. The hardware is already there. The software is already being written. But knowing what's happening is half the battle. Here are a few things that can help you make more informed decisions about your data. Before you buy a car, look up its data practices. A site called Privacy for Cars has a free tool at vehicleprivacyreport.com. Enter the VIN number, and it tells you exactly what data your specific make, model, and year is configured to collect. Mozilla's Privacy Not Included guide reviews car brands the same way it reviews apps. Check both before you sign anything at a dealership. And while you're there, ask what data programs are active by default and how to opt out. In the car you already own, check for the data sharing programs. You may want to turn some of them off. Almost every manufacturer has a connected services app. OnStar, FordPass, Toyota Connected, BlueLink, Honda Link. Inside those apps and inside your car's infotainment settings, there are usually toggles for data sharing and driver scoring programs. They're buried, but they're there. The trade-off is usually losing remote start or certain navigation features. You have to decide if that's worth it. And when you're ready to sell, do a factory reset of the infotainment system first. The same way you'd wipe a phone before handing it to a stranger. Your home address, your contacts, your calendar, all of it can stay on the car otherwise. You can't opt out of everything. Some data collection is baked in at a hardware level, like the event data recorder and cellular modem that calls for help in a crash. But the programs that are selling your behavior to brokers, those, in most cases, you can still turn off. Did you have any idea your car was doing this? Did you know your infotainment screen might be parsing your voice for ad keywords? Drop it in the comments, because the more people talk about this openly, the harder it gets to treat it as normal. We've covered what follows you on the road. We haven't talked about what happens the moment you walk through the door when you get to the store. That one's next.